and welcome to Millennium Sports World. Today we will present local and international sports stories including tennis, boxing, auto race, US football, basketball, world soccer and some more sports news. So let's dive into today's sports world. US Football Hall of Famer, Hollywood actor and civil rights activist Jim Brown died on Thursday at the age of 87 at his home in Los Angeles. A family spokesperson on Friday said Brown's passing had been peaceful and his wife Monique had been by his side. To the world, he was an activist, actor, and football star, Monique Brown said in an Instagram post. To our family, he was a loving husband, father, and grandfather. Our hearts are broken. Brown is considered one of American football's greatest players and was named Most Valuable Player in 1965. He retired at the peak of his career after leading the Cleveland Browns to win the NFL championship in 1964. Jim Brown is a true icon of not just the Cleveland Browns but the entire NFL, said Browns owners Dee and Jimmy Haslam. He was certainly the greatest to ever put on a Browns uniform and arguably one of the greatest players in NFL history. Brown would then go on to become a successful Hollywood actor and appeared in more than 30 films, including Oliver Stone's Any Given Sunday and World War II epic, The Dirty Dozen. Brown used his profile to amplify the voices of Black Americans in the fight for equality. In 1967, Brown joined activist athletes in supporting Muhammad Ali's refusal to be drafted into the US military. Later years would see Brown working to help curb gang violence in LA with the founding of Armor I Can, a program to help disadvantaged inner-city youth and ex-convicts. Now, latest basketball story. Brittney Griner has made an emotional return to women's basketball, playing her first competitive game in nearly 2 years following her jailing in Russia. Griner, who was released by Russia as part of a prisoner swap last year, made her first appearance in a WNBA game in 579 days on Friday evening as the Phoenix Mercury faced the Los Angeles Sparks in a season opener in California. US Vice President Kamala Harris was among the well-wishers at the Crypto.com arena in downtown Los Angeles as the WNBA superstar finally returned to action. The two-time Olympic gold medalist made an instant impression on her return, winning the tip-off and scoring 4 points as the Mercury jumped into an early 7-0 lead. The crowd erupted when she hit a 17-foot jumper on her first attempt of the contest. It felt good, Griner said in an on-court interview at the end of the first quarter. It felt real good. It felt like the last time I played. Griner eventually finished with 18 points and 6 rebounds but could not prevent Phoenix from slumping to a comprehensive 94-71 loss. The result, however, was almost a footnote to an occasion that Phoenix coach Vanessa Niger described as a day of joy. Now it's time for some latest soccer news. Manchester City celebrated their third consecutive Premier League title on Sunday as a much-changed side was still good enough to beat Chelsea 1-0 at the Etihad. Pep Guardiola's men clinched a fifth title in 6 seasons on Saturday when second-placed Arsenal were beaten 1-0 at Nottingham Forest. That gave Guardiola the luxury of resting most of his star names with one eye on the FA Cup and Champions League finals next month as City go for the treble. The strength of City's squad was exemplified by Julian Alvarez, who has spent most of the season as Erling Haaland's understudy, scoring his 17th goal of the campaign to extend the English champions' unbeaten run in all competitions to 24 games. At least 12 people died and an unspecified number were injured in a stampede at a soccer stadium in El Salvador on Saturday, the Central American government tweeted. On Saturday night, the Alianza FC and Club Deportivo Faz teams were playing a quarter-final game at the Cuscatlan Stadium in San Salvador, the capital. Play was suspended after a stampede broke out in the general section of the stadium, a venue with a capacity for more than 44,000 fans. The tweet added the organization would immediately request a report on the incident. Napoli captain Giovanni Di Lorenzo scored a stunning goal to help the Serie A champion beat 10-man Inter Milan 3-1 on Sunday to end the Nerazzurri's 8-match winning run. Di Lorenzo's goal came with 5 minutes remaining, shortly after Romelu Lukaku had levelled for Inter by cancelling out Andre Anguissa's opener. Inter had to play most of the match with 10 men after midfielder Roberto Gagliardini was sent off shortly before the break following a second yellow card. Inter remained 2 points above 5th place AC Milan in a tight fight for the top 4 in Serie A. Lazio could leapfrog the Nerazzurri with a result at Udine's later. Inter was full of confidence after beating Milan 1-0 on Tuesday to advance to the Champions League final for the first time since it won the competition in 2010 under Jose Mourinho along with the League and Italian Cup. It was a fantastic atmosphere at Stadio Diego Armando Maradona, with Napoli fans still celebrating the team's first title in 33 years. Brighton qualifies for Europe for first ever time after beating Southampton 3-1. Evan Ferguson scored 2 goals as Brighton beat Southampton 3-1 in the Premier League on Sunday to qualify for Europe for the first time in its history. The win means 6th place. Brighton cannot finish lower than 7th this season and could still overtake Liverpool in 5th. Ferguson struck in the 29th and 40th minutes to put Brighton in control against already relegated Southampton at Amex Stadium. Mohamed Elionossi pulled one back for the visitors in the 58th, but Pascal Gross made it 3-1 in the 69th. Ferguson has won many admirers this season, and he opened the scoring when collecting Alexis McAllister's pass at the edge of the area and firing home his 5th league goal of the campaign. He made it 10 in all competitions when turning home Kaoru Mitoma's pass with a finish in the bottom left corner. Elionossi headed James Ward-Prowse's corner after the break to give Southampton hope of taking something from the game. But Gross extended the host advantage and ensured European qualification in Roberto De Zerbi's first season in charge. Now it's time for some latest tennis stories. Elena Rybakina will head to the French Open with the confidence that she can be as effective on clay as she is on the other 2 surfaces with her booming serve and ground strokes after the Kazakh world number 6 won the Italian Open on Saturday. The Moscow-born 23-year-old bagged her 2nd title of 2023 after her Indian Wells triumph and 5th overall when Ukraine's Anhelina Kalinina retired while trailing 6-4, 1-0. Wimbledon champion Rybakina became the 6th woman since the introduction of the WTA 1000 format in 2009 to win a Grand Slam or Masters title on every surface after Serena Williams, Petra Kvitova, Simona Halep, Garbiñe Muguruza and Ash Barty. I think with my game, I can play good on all the surfaces, said Rybakina, who also reached the Australian Open and Miami finals this season. It's just maybe for clay I need to be ready more physically and have a lot of preparation, which I don't always have the time for after the hard court season. Rybakina reached the 3rd round at Roland Garros last year and hoped playing in Paris would be easier this time. Martina Navratilova is doing okay after being diagnosed with throat cancer and breast cancer. I have gone through a very difficult year, but now I am okay. The 18-time Grand Slam singles champion and a member of the International Tennis Hall of Fame said at the Italian Open on Sunday, after receiving the Racquetta d'Oro award for her contributions to the sport. The 66-year-old Navratilova said in January that her prognosis was good and that she was going to start treatment that month. She said then that she noticed an enlarged lymph node in her neck while attending the season-ending WTA finals in Fort Worth, Texas in November, and a biopsy showed early-stage throat cancer. While Navratilova was undergoing tests on her throat, she said the unrelated early-stage breast cancer was discovered. Navratilova returned to her work as a TV analyst at Tennis Channel in March, when in an interview with Talk TV's Piers Morgan, she said she was told by doctors that as far as they know, I am cancer-free and she should be good to go after some additional radiation treatment. Three-time Grand Slam champion Andy Murray has withdrawn from the clay court French Open, organizers said Sunday. The 36-year-old British player lost in the 2016 final to Novak Djokovic and reached four other semi-finals at Roland Garros in Western Paris. Play begins there May 28, and the tournament will also be without record 14-time champion Rafael Nadal. The 36-year-old Spaniard announced on Thursday that his lingering hip injury still has not healed properly. An earlier report from British broadcaster BBC said Murray is skipping the French Open to prioritize Wimbledon, where he has won two of his majors on grass. Murray lost in the first round of the Italian Open last week and was then beaten 6-3, 6-0 by fellow veteran Stan Wawrinka at an ATP Challenger event in Bordeaux on Wednesday. Wimbledon begins on July 3. Murray reached the #1 ranking in late 2016. That stellar year, he reached three major finals, winning Wimbledon for the second time, clinched his second Olympic gold medal in singles, and beat Djokovic to win the season-ending ATP World Tour finals. Daniil Medvedev hadn't won a single match in his three previous appearances at the Italian Open. Now he has won the tournament. The Russian beat rising 20-year-old Danish player Holger Rune 7-5, 7-5 on Sunday for the first clay court trophy of a career that includes the 2021 US Open title and a period at #1 in the rankings. Medvedev was previously known almost exclusively for his prowess on hard courts, with 18 of his previous 19 titles coming on that surface. The other was on grass in Mallorca. But he now must be considered a contender at the French Open, the clay court Grand Slam, which starts next Sunday. There is room for a new champion at Roland Garros after 14-time winner Rafael Nadal announced on Thursday that he won't be competing in the tournament because of a lingering hip injury that has sidelined him since January. Now it's time for latest boxing story. Undisputed lightweight champion Devin Haney retained his titles Saturday night at the MGM Grand Garden, but not without a controversial decision that former three-division champion Vasily Lomachenko's camp plans on appealing. Lomachenko dominated the later rounds and outpunched Haney 124-110, but much to the dismay of the 14,436 fans in attendance, all three judges had Haney winning. Tim Cheatham and David Sutherland scored the fight 115-113, while Dave Moretti had it 116-112. Lomachenko's manager said they plan to appeal the decision. The biggest robbery in the daylight. Haney's team got Christmas in the summer. Aegis Klimas said, "We are going to appeal this decision. Those judges, they do not understand how the boxers are working hard. I guarantee we are not going to let that go. We want to show there has to be justice." Haney improved to 30-0. Lomachenko dropped to 17-3. Both fighters showed aggressiveness through the first half of the fight. Haney using his length and strength by working off his back foot, while Lomachenko continued to pepper the champion with a jackhammer left hand to the head. But as the fight wore on, it was the elder statesman punishing 24-year-old Haney, stunning him with combinations, including a powerful ninth round, when the champion started showing his fatigue. All three judges scored a relatively close 12th round that could have gone either way in favor of Haney, 10-9. A decision the other way would have made the fight a draw on two judges' scorecards. Now, latest auto race story. Ganassi. It was practically the only name mentioned as the four-car organization returned to Indianapolis Motor Speedway poised to defend last year's Indianapolis 500 victory. Arrow McLaren Racing pushed them aside on the first day of Indy 500 qualifying. Felix Rosenqvist, a former Chip Ganassi racing driver, no less, led the McLaren charge Saturday by posting the fastest four-lap average. His late afternoon run of 233.947 mph was the third fastest four-lap qualifying effort in race history. He bumped new teammate Alexander Rossi from the top spot, a position he had held nearly 6 hours. It was pretty mind-blowing how we found so much speed, Rosenqvist said. What a run! Just a fun time to be in an Arrow McLaren. We are definitely looking good right now, he said. Now it's time for latest rugby news. Argentina made its first London Sevens final count when it defeated short-handed Fiji 35-14 at Twickenham on Sunday. The final was handicapped in the second minute when Joses Baturega was sent off for a tip tackle on Luciano Gonzalez. Expectation flipped from Fiji, a four-time London champion, to Argentina. Fiji led 7-0 at the time and immediately conceded a show-and-go try to German Schulz. Then Marcos Monete scooped up loose ball and shot home from behind a scrum to send Argentina 14-7 ahead into halftime. Philippe Soteriga collected his grubber kick and scored his second try for Fiji 19 seconds into the new half. But the tied score didn't last long. Rodrigo Isgro kicked ahead from Argentina's 22. Moneta collected the ball in the Fiji 22 and gave a try-saving pass to the trailing Isgro. Isgro scored the next try after Schulz stole a throw-in and Moneta offloaded. Moneta kept the scoring with his 100th World Series try in his 20th tournament. All 5 Argentina tries were converted by Santiago Verafeld and Moneta. Argentina's third tournament win completed its most successful series, runner-up to New Zealand. Fiji was third in the series even though it failed to win a tournament for the first time since the 2010-11 season. France was fourth and Australia grabbed the World Series fifth and final automatic qualifying spot for next year's Paris Olympics by 1 point from Samoa. Now let's have some cricket news. The Board of Control for Cricket in India and the Pakistan Cricket Board have been engaged in a dispute over the hosting rights for the Asia Cup 2023. PCB boss Najam Shetty retaliated by stating that they would refuse to travel to India for the ODI World Cup 2023 unless India tours Pakistan for Asia Cup. Former Pakistan captain Shahid Afridi believes that PCB should handle the current situation tactfully and allow the team to visit India. According to the 46-year-old, winning the tournament on Indian soil would be a tight slap to the BCCI. I don't understand why they are so adamant and keep saying that we won't go to India. They need to simplify the situation and understand that an international cricket tournament is happening. Take it rather positively, go and play. Tell your boys to get the trophy. The whole nation stands behind you. It will not only be a big win for us but a tight slap on the face of BCCI, said Afridi on Sama TV. Go to India, play decent cricket and claim the win. This is it. we have only this option resorted to ourselves. We are supposed to go there, land back with the World Cup, and give them a still clear message that we can go anywhere and back the victory, he added. India have not travelled to Pakistan since the 2008 Asia Cup due to tense political relations between the two countries and security reasons. Meanwhile, Pakistan's last visit to India was in the 2016 T20 World Cup under Afridi's captaincy. Cameron Green scored a 47-ball unbeaten century as Mumbai Indians kept alive its hopes of a spot in the Indian Premier League playoffs with an 8-wicket win against Sunrisers Hyderabad on Sunday. Mumbai finished its league stage with 16 points from 8 wins in 14 matches, but will only get the remaining playoff spot if Royal Challengers Bangalore fails to beat first-place Gujarat Titans later Sunday, or that game is a washout. The match in Bangalore started after a rain delay of nearly an hour. Mumbai's thumping win also ended Rajasthan Royals' slim hopes for the knockout stage. We came with the mindset to win and not worry what happens elsewhere, Mumbai skipper Rohit Sharma said. Even if we don't go through, we got ourselves to blame. If we do, the boys get credit. Last place Hyderabad finished with 4 wins and 10 defeats. Green had struggled with only 2 half-centuries in the previous 13 games, but finally struck form with 100 not out as he anchored Mumbai to 201 for 2 with 2 overs to spare. Former Australian Test captain Brian Booth has died aged 89, Cricket Australia said Saturday, praising him as an immensely respected and admired player. The middle-order batter played 29 tests for Australia between 1961 and 1966, including twice as captain during the 1965-66 Ashes series against England when regular skipper Bob Simpson was absent. He scored 1,773 runs, including 5 centuries, at an average of 42.21. A dual sport athlete, Booth also played hockey and represented Australia at the 1956 Melbourne Olympic Games. Booth played 93 times for New South Wales in the domestic Sheffield Shield, scoring 5,574 runs at 43.5, and was a life member of the MCC. That's all in today's sports world. Keep watching Millennium Sports World for latest sports news. Millennium TV US and Millennium News 24 network is transmitted and available to be watched free for all at TVs such as Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku TV, Amazon TV and Apple TV, and also in all European countries and Australia, available with the Sky Network, Worldwide Jago TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jago BD Network and Horizon Satellite globally. Stay connected with us for all types of informative and entertainment program. Thank you.